At this point, they could no longer blatantly ignore it, so they confusedly announced that Lang Wei had lost the first match. Nyan Bang Wei did not say a word. Even though this was not the result she wanted the most, all attention and curiosity were focused on the young man in front of her. On the outside, this person is no different from an ordinary battle pet master. But why does he give her an overwhelming feeling, making her afraid? Like he is a sun god standing above looking down at her. Just a monster? Humble little person. His golden spiritual energy light was so bright that she couldn't see clearly what it was. That's the owner of the mischievous pet shop, Bin. True Vo Kui frowned and looked at him carefully, feeling that his aura was quite threatening, but he dared to jump into the middle of the arena to stop their fun, and even crushed Nyan Bangwei's tentacles. The joke was not funny. Don Fong Tiu's smile was tense. His eyes lit up. He stomped his foot on the floor, and harshly asked Bin if he was trying to make trouble here. A stomp of Don Fong Tiu's foot, like a dragon's prestige, overwhelmed the aura of everyone present, causing everyone to be unable to bear the pressure and press their bodies against the ground. Lang Wei was forced to have difficulty breathing, prostrate on the floor, but did not see the arena shaking. Don't misunderstand, I'm just a normal shop owner like everyone else. I'm here to give this girl more pets to fight in the next round. Bin smiled, waved his hand and pointed at his sister who fell down behind him, while he did not show any signs of being threatened. Seeing the shadow of a tattered dark-colored tree passing by, Lang Wei seemed to realize something and opened her eyes. Mr. Hai said he brought her a pet, is that really it? Yeah, it is. A dwarf as small as an elementary school child, wearing a black cloak, like the knight, stood before Lang Wei's bewildered eyes. She had never seen this skeleton fight before. It made a big gash in the lecture hall when Bin first took the position of teacher at the school. Did her brother entrust her life to him? Just a small shop owner in the Longjiang city base, Bin dared to rush out and use his bare hands to block the extraordinary sword of Miss Tin Kong? He turned around and called out the little skeleton, adding that this little pet shouldn't be a problem, right? Technically, in their eyes, a small skeleton was nothing. But Zhao Wuji recognized the person standing in the stands, the guy who had taken a hit for the audience earlier. Directly confronting the power of Tin Kong, and blatantly leaving behind pets is clearly an act of open opposition. They will not just sit and watch. Standing on the field, the arena was huge. The two brothers from the Ta family, and the little Dry Lu were nothing more than 3 tiny black dots. He said coldly, his store has always had a pet rental service. Even though this little skeleton belongs to me, Ms. Wei has rented it, I just gave it to her to use. As he spoke, he raised the newly summoned contract in his hand. The brother and sister took it and continued, didn't someone bring your miracle into the yard? Speaking loudly, True Vo Kuk doesn't seem like a person who is good at arguing. Just saying that made him angrily roar. Don Fong Tiu curled his lips, call it convincing. But you entered the yard and injured my lady's pet, so what do you think? Pointing at the tentacled leg of the orc that I crushed, Bin said these guys can't be used anymore. It's best to get out of the yard. In exchange, you summon other pet beasts here. As many as you like. His eyes flashed with golden light. His voice spoke coldly with each word. Mainly, for you. I lost my heart and my words. Without waiting for the stars to react, why didn't the old people of the 5 great families above rush in? Is this store owner overconfident, or did he draw a few long lines before coming to see him? Does he know that he is talking to Tin Kong, asking people to summon as many high-level pets as they want? You've only done it once and you think you're so majestic? Let's see how the stars will destroy people this time, without us needing to take action anymore. It's exactly what the Tin Kong family wanted. The orange-yellow spiritual energy rose up to surround Don Fong Tiu, while True Vo Kuk's purple spiritual energy rose up around them, opening up the summoning space above their heads. 3 oranges and 2 purples, all of them are big and heavy. Surely the pet beast that is about to appear here is not an easy toy to play with, and they probably won't let Brother Bin go wild and take it easy. As soon as the summoning space door opened, the air in the competition room seemed to be compressed, making the audience confused and scared. This pet contest is so scary, the plot is unpredictable. Screaming and growling sounds of all kinds came from the group of animals jumping out of the summoning space. They come in all shapes and sizes, from dragons to warhorses holding tridents, to fanged sea snakes jumping from above, breaking the entire level 9 barrier with ease. These pet beasts were probably about to reach their full level, landing around Tabin's brothers like mountains falling on the floor, their fiery eyes just waiting for the command to jump in and kill them. Nyan Bangwei used spiritual energy to swirl around her, causing the air to move like wind around her body. If her uncle Pol Fong had lent him such a high-class pet, Nyan Bangwei would not disappoint her expectations, using this guy's blood to soak 3 inches of the arena, and filling the surrounding air with the scent. For Tabin's bones, Tu Langwei raised her hand to block the wind blowing in the arena. Looking at the situation, she saw that all 5 of them had more fighting power than the Tula Ma Long that Nyan Bangwei had just summoned. Tabin's hands were still in his pockets, taking it for granted that they would have the honor of fighting the little skeleton, and told his sister to quickly sign a temporary contract with the pet beast. But she denied that, even though she had never seen a small skeleton fight. She knew that it was second brother's #1 favorite. The difference in strength between the battle pet master and the pet beast is too large and can backfire, such as being unable to control the field, or having the contracted pet turn on you. Tabin did not answer, but with a rustling sound, the red jade piece on the little Drylu's knee had already fallen to the ground. Tabin didn't look back, just said, "Trust me." The little skeleton bowed his head before Tu Langwei with sincerity and loyalty, extending one hand forward. She stared at that hand full of black joints, thought for a few seconds and then brought her hand closer. The tiny dry skull's hand was dark, but it could be seen that it was full of calluses due to many years of fighting, going through hundreds of fierce battles. If Tu Langwei knew that the little skeleton not only fought, it also lived and died 9 times, maybe she wouldn't have dared to take its hand. At this moment, it knelt in front of her, grabbed her hand and lifted it up, treating her as its official owner to protect, making Tu Langwei feel like there was no longer any fear around her. A war pet master who has signed a contract with a pet can sense the pet's condition without needing to get close. The consciousness of the silver bone star Wei Long and Huyan Diem beast showed that they were still barely breathing, enough for her to take them for treatment after the match. But it's been a long time since I signed a contract with the little rat, so why don't I see it in this space? Suddenly, a gurgling sound sounded like wind blowing from a crack in the rocks. Behind Tu Langwei, he saw the true shape of the little skeleton in his subconscious. Contrary to the appearance of an elementary school student, in his subconscious he is like the master of One Direction. Tu Langwei realized its overwhelming aura covered the air around her, swallowed her saliva and turned to stare at it. Wondering if this is really his brother's chastity pet? A skinny little skeleton, in a dark black robe, standing tall and not knowing what fear is. The MC's voice rang out to start the second battle. If Tu Langwei failed again this time, Nyan Bangwei would automatically become the champion of the elite tournament at Longjiang Base. The 9th level pet beasts growled around the arena with a threatening attitude, causing Tu Langwei to stand still. Atula Ma Long made her struggle. Now the 5 in front of her are all superior. Will she have a way to win? Even Nyan Bangwei, whose entire body was filled with murderous energy, could she really win? Tan Ky Thien in her hand cut the blood of the silver mist crystal moon dragon into the Huyan Diem beast without hesitation. As if knowing that his sister was worried, Tabin rushed out of the field and didn't forget to tell her that all she had to do was give the order, and let the little guy worry about the rest. As soon as he flew out of the fighting range, the battle began with Nyan Bangwei's scream, ordering all the pets to rush up and roast those 2 children at once. When the dragon and snake ascend to the clouds, there's no one at home who doesn't come out to welcome the 5 beautiful pets. Each child's mouth was opened as wide as possible, preparing to launch a move to finish off the 2 tiny black dots on the field. Tu Langwei regained his fighting spirit and ordered the little skeleton to attack. It furrowed its eyebrows in boredom. As soon as Tu Langwei finished speaking, she disappeared on the spot, using her undead lightning to shoot her whole body towards the nearest red dragon. The impact was so strong that the dragon's face was deformed and his teeth fell out. It still didn't understand what the hell was going on. The little skeleton, in a state of slaughter, swung its chipped blade and split the red dragon's head into two paths. So fast, Nyan Bangwei couldn't see the little skeleton's movements. When he saw something, it was the blood of the severed dragon's head. The two pseudo-stars opened their eyes wide. A small skeleton was able to cut down a level 9 pet beast with just one knife. The remaining pet beasts saw their comrades being killed and rushed forward, pointing their weapons at the small skeleton at the same time. It didn't bother to turn its back to look at them, but turned around and decisively performed another stroke, slashing away the entire giant arm, so fast that blood didn't even have time to splatter. Not letting them regain their composure, the little skeleton turned around to create distance for the chaotic reincarnation, with one move exploding the two pet beasts into piles of slimy meat. A line-shaped pet beast opened its mouth with a long, snake-like tongue towards the little skeleton, casting a level 9 mysterious eternal prison, but this animal probably hadn't brushed its teeth in a long time. It was so stinky that the little skeleton didn't bother to cut it anymore. It took a deep breath into its lungs, then let out an earth-shattering roar. Its corpse is powerful enough to blow away an army of demon soldiers. Now blowing away the skin and flesh and blood of this pet beast is not difficult. The pet animal now looks like a set of dinosaur models hanging in the Quang Ninh Museum. The confident expression on Nyan Bang Nguyen's face was suddenly replaced by a stunned look, and a pile of flesh fell right before her eyes. It wasn't just her, everyone present felt like they were crazy. Is a level 9 beast killed with just one roar? What kind of god is that skeleton? When did that sacred skeleton descend to the ground along with the last pet beast whose throat was cut? Its murderous aura made Nyan Bang Nguyen turn around to look in horror, but with its attitude, no one could do anything. Tru Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu knew what it wanted to do. At this moment, they were extremely scared and shouted, "No, no." But she could only watch as Nyan Bangwei was stabbed right in the chest. Blood splattered and the pea dried up for a long time without even blinking an eyelash, even though it didn't have eyelashes. Nyan Bangwei was enthusiastic about going into battle with 5 pet beasts given to her by Tru Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu. She could never have imagined that all 5 level 9 beasts would be defeated by a small, tiny skeleton. As quick as a seasoned executioner, as fast as it could cut, it rushed forward and slashed the bone sword in front of Nyan Bang Nguyen's body, treating the strange sword as just a toy. The moment the miraculous sword broke in half in front of him, Nyan Bangwei suddenly remembered something he heard a long time ago. In the natural world, dangerous objects are divided into 2 categories. The first type is the type that always wears bright colors to warn those around them not to touch them. It's like I'm a powerful person, so I took the initiative to let you guys know if the soul is not to be touched. The second type looks very harmless, but from beginning to end hides its true strength, sitting in a dark corner as if blending in with the surrounding environment, smiling and watching things go their way. But this little skeleton doesn't belong to any group at all. Only when it lands next to it can one realize its existence, just like a jet black color at the core already exists. It ignores the life around it, not intentionally blending into the darkness, but no one can detect it, until realizing its existence makes the hair on the back of one's neck shiver. But once it appears, it's not just creepy. One slash from it is enough to make people regret letting themselves fall into that darkness and let it take over. The cut extending from her left shoulder down to her right hip was long and deep, causing blood to splatter, cutting through her secret defense to keep her from dying on the spot. Not to mention the amount of blood pouring out, the depth of this wound should have cut her in two. Tu Langwei's hand was still focused on treating the Huyan Diem beast, without taking his eyes off the battle situation at all. Little skeleton is so powerful, Nyan Bangwei was able to force Silver Mist Tinwei Dragon into a difficult situation, but now he can't resist and can only stand and watch as he is beheaded. The faces of the heads of the famous families up there had darkened, as if dark clouds had covered them from time to time. Because they don't understand whether it's because they overestimate the strength of Starry Sky, or because Tabin of the pet shop is mischievous beyond what can be imagined, only a little skeleton can force the young lady. Crystal is not to this extent. Lu Thien Tun clasped his hands in silence. thinking about Doc Vong's story about Nguyen Dai Nhan being mischievously beaten back by Tabin, the pet shop's pet shop, as true. He was as scared as Lu Thien Tun, but Deep Vo Kak couldn't hide it. He leaned forward in extreme surprise and was immediately noticed by Chow Thien Lam's laughter. Hey old Chow, did you know from the beginning the strength of the door? Are you a pet of the playful beast? Well, Chow Thien Lam stroked his beard very comfortably and asked if he knew how I spied out. Because I almost used my life to exchange for it. Of course, Deep Vo Kak knew that Tabin's arrival at the Chow family's house was a blow due to donkey smoke, but he did not know that the Chow family had already submitted from top to bottom, and after he performed the show to upgrade the pet, there was 102 on the field. After cutting Nhan Bangwei, he fell to the ground and could not get up. The young man slowly walked closer to her, grabbed her long hair and pulled it back, forcing her to raise her chin just where the blade of the blade was. This hair just loved using red spiritual energy to make it fly, right? Let's see if the eye and head can still fly, shall we? Tru Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu saw that this little skeleton was going crazy, so they rushed to their young lady, telling us to admit defeat and please show mercy. Say something slowly, don't rush. 2 people, one old and one young, ran across the field towards the little skeleton who was cutting Nhan Bangwei down like a real executioner. The situation in the match turned so drastically that it was hard to believe, from the story of the little skeleton giving each player a knife to send all 5 level 9 pet beasts back to their grandparents to the star side refusing to admit defeat. It was beyond my imagination. People present there, but what was even more surprising was Tabin, flying over the heads of that crowd of people, opening his mouth and asking if it was okay to admit defeat. Where was that aura of not dying and not letting it go? His words seemed to emerge from the depths of the underworld, startling Tru Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu. Having listened to his gentle voice, can they now bear the heart to give up their position as champion? Is this Tabin, who is usually silent and does not compete with the things of this life, determined to put all his energy into a dead end? The elders of the 5 great families did not expect him to do this. That side admitting defeat is like taking 2,000 steps back. What else does he want? Could it be that he should kill Nhan Bangwin, give her a daughter and then go back to the starry sky to make the clouds cry and then let it go? Do you know how terrible space stars are? Don Fong Tiu hugged Nhan Bangwei because the pain was so painful that he alternated between waking and falling asleep, agreeing with Tabin's words. We give up the championship position, as long as we don't hurt the lady, we won't pursue the past events anymore. This little bastard still hadn't pulled back his blade, making him sweat profusely. Nhan Bangwei's wound did not seem to be caused by a physical impact. Even if he used magic to treat it, it would still ulcerate, emitting a strong smell of murderous aura in the air. Realizing that this poisonous corpse had a very strong effect, making her grimace in pain, Don Fong Tiu needed to quickly take Nhan Bangwei back to the treatment base to save her life. It's not that easy. Tabin landed on the ground with a smile, not very happy looking at the 2 stars busy, in front of him opened his mouth and asked. Invite me to talk about the old story I missed? It's not Tet, my friend. If I understand correctly, what you mean is that we are not right when we touch people. But since our young lady is about to die, we have to show mercy, right? His face was dark, his mouth was open, but it radiated a clear intimidation that made them no longer able to pretend. Tru Vo Kuk gritted and asked him to detoxify, while Tin Kong was still happily talking. Otherwise he would completely level Longjiang City. Don Fong Tiu added with a smile, reminding Tabin that they were people should not touch it. Do you know how powerful Tin Kong is? Threaten those who don't threaten the leader, Tabin. He tightly grasped the yellow hand of the golden crow god demon body, slowly speaking that if they were in a weak position and if they dared to say they liked it, they would ignore it. If they didn't like it, that would be fine. If they fell into someone else's hands and were still talkative, then they would keep it. What else to do? With a whoosh, Tru Vo Kuk's left arm returned to the Mother Earth. While he was still listening to Tabin's words, the little Ko Lao pulled out the bone knife and placed it on Nhan Bangwei's neck, switching the target to him. You have to know that if Tabin was intentional, little Ko Lao could have pierced his intestines with one knife without blinking an eye. He didn't know what to do, hugged his shoulders and screamed, only to see the little dry man Lao rush over and continue to attack Dongfang Tiu. With a clang, the two swords clashed and sparked, but he suddenly looked up and smiled triumphantly. The end has come. If you dare to attack us, you will surely die. It turns out that up until now, all the fake winning and losing cards were just buying time for the star's mechanical pig to appear. Since when had the barrier protecting the field been punctured, the figures of 10 people, all level 9 wearing robes, appeared above. A leader held up something like a command token in his left hand, radiating blue spiritual energy, and asked loudly if the target of the king's command was him. All of the star's rescuers were able to fly on their own, demonstrating their terrifying strength, their powerful aura stirring up the surrounding atmosphere. That's right, it's him. Looking at the little skeleton silently retreating to its owner's side, Tru Vo Kuk and Dongfang Tiu now smiled tantalizingly. Is this guy Tabin very good at fighting? This time I will stand by and watch how you die. Tabin didn't know what the king's death order was. He also didn't know who the crowd that just rushed in was, so he kept asking who they were. He doesn't know, but everyone in Longjiang knows it. The patriarch looked at the situation and broke out in a cold sweat. This guy had already violated the king's death order, so who could save him? Only when Tin Kong discovered a king-level pet beast in the city did he issue an order to summon experts to solve the problem. Once the king's murder order is issued, Tin Kong will have to send out 30 generals who have all reached level 9, including 10 who have reached the maximum level 9 to destroy that king beast. That is also the way Tin Kong built a name above the heads of thousands of people in the past. Up to now, if the power of the house is strong, a larger force that cannot control them will attack them. Ji Kan Kwa took off his hood to reveal his powerful poking head. He is the 6th member of Tin Kong. His combat power has reached the end of level 9, opening his mouth to threaten the audience below in the style of this organization. Those of you who are not involved in the match should leave here, but if we really fight, this Longjiang city will become a wasteland, running anywhere will be useless. I only came to watch one match but now I have no way to go home. The audience held their heads and cried, "We don't want to die without a drink. These guys are crazy. I have to quickly notify my mother to leave the city." Tu Lang Wei was worried and was about to leave the yard before hearing his brother's voice. "Don't worry, Mom is in the safest place in the world." Tu Lang Wei did not know that his store was an inviolable lot, and did not understand what Tabin meant by saying that. In addition to the Superstore VIP Pro, inside the store there was also Anna pouring tea and inviting his mother to eat cake and gossip. At first, the two of them watched the elite match, but since the other group arrived, the competition stopped broadcasting. Maybe something dangerous happened? There was nothing dangerous for Anna, she muttered as she poured more tea. Ants were just ants. It didn't matter if there were a whole group of them. Knowing that the rear was safe, Tabin felt more comfortable talking to the crowd. It's so funny to listen to the king's orders. Self-proclaimed king to quell the rebellion? Why is there such a door? The king of Vong Lin is here and hasn't mentioned this yet. The little skeleton crossed his arms and echoed Tabin's words. He seems so angry that you guys don't know who is the king. How dare you use that arrogant tone? Criticizing too few people, right? This Tru Vo Kuk is as slangy as ice cream. If he doesn't agree with a sentence he will scold him back and forth. Then he raised his neck and looked up at the clan leader, giving orders. Those who assist Tin Kong to kill enemies will later receive rewards. Those who do not will become eliminated. I do not need to say much. Tabin dares to rob the young master of the Duong family. Our whole family has wanted to rip out his heart and intestines for a long time. Where is Phai Vu Quan? Responding to Long Chen's response, a man named Phai Vu Quan riding on a purple thunderbird, level 8 bloodline limit, appeared in the sky. Not just one bird, but thousands of them flapping their wings and flying in the air, causing the scene to suddenly become chaotic. The Tang family has declared their side on the star's side. Support Star, capture Tabin for me immediately. This pointing of Long Qian Street will lead the love affair between Tabin and Tin Kong to nowhere. Tabin and the little skeleton, blatantly appearing on the elite tournament field, declared that they were not afraid of angering anyone, not only the stars, but also the Duong family, who was upset that Duong Nhuyen was in his hands. Long Qian Road just called out. The clear blue sky was filled with black bird wings signaling the upcoming fierce battle. To show his loyalty to the stars, Thien Vu Quan of the Duong family, riding on his body a group of limited edition level 8 Thunderbirds, followed the command to shoot lemongrass straight. Thousands of yellow arrows descended on the competition field, making not only him to Bin's younger brother, but everyone there was affected. The roof collapsed first. All the rocks and soil fell onto the helpless audience who could only open their mouths to call for help. The attack's influence only works on civilians, but on the masters of big families, it is of no consequence. Tan Thu Thien quickly jumped off the railing and rushed down towards the crowd of spectators who had no ability to resist. Quickly open it, the summoning space calls Ti Ho Jia, using vines and giant body to hold falling rocks to reduce casualties. Dong Min Tung was always curious about things, but he was also constantly busy. Looking up, he saw that Tan Thu Thien was extremely dissatisfied with the hot-tempered way of the Duong family. At this time, Duong Longqian was flying high in the air, looking up and down on both sides of the field, which had been plowed to pieces by Thien Vu Quan, his family, aiming straight at Bin, shouting, raising his hands to endure the glare and pulling me to shoot. Then landed next to the two henchmen of the stars? Seeing that there was a natural windfall, Don Fong Tiu raised his eyebrows and asked the remaining clan heads whose side they decided to side with. Tru Vo Kai impatiently interrupted, don't even think about staying in a neutral position and waiting for this to happen. It's not that easy to win. Not taking action to support the stars means opposing your will. Let's go. It sounds so loud. Chao Thien Lam stood up first, not to respond to their call to join, but stroked his beard and madly declared that his heart was on Bin's side, and the rest of them could do whatever they wanted. Go. The two fake men were divided into two different factions, causing the four clan heads to struggle between choosing whether to help Bin or help Tin. If you unfortunately choose the wrong losing side, you will definitely be dealt with by the winning side. This is not simply a personal grudge, but their decision will bring the whole family to bear the consequences. On one side is the star that has dominated for many years, on the other side is an emerging force that dares to stand on top of the wave. Analyzing more closely, Bin, currently using just one pet beast, he can slash away 5 level 9 pet beasts of the opponent, but the strength behind it is unknown how deep it is. The other side of the star has been famous for many years for dealing with dangers related to high-level king beasts. The 40 people of the king's execution team, over time, their strength only increased, not decreased, and their frost power was also 20 times stronger than before. Anyone who is a clan leader has heard about how strong they are, and I guarantee there will be no exaggeration. Moreover, all of the big families sitting here have never had a disagreement with the delicate pet shop. Sometimes it's for the benefit of winning the championship, sometimes it's trying to tarnish the store's reputation. Who knows if helping Bin will be bidden back by him or not. Bin's power is just an emerging power, worth nothing compared to the wealth of existing families. Now that helping Tin Kong is no longer highly rewarded, it seems that the four clan heads have come to the same conclusion. Farther from below, Tan Thien Thien saw that his father was preparing to join the Star faction, so he immediately spoke up. Tan Du Hoang was flying towards that direction. Seeing his son, he immediately sent a message telling him to return or hide. Big clans fighting with Bin will definitely create dust and smoke, so don't stay here for too long. Father, can you change your mind? What does this mean? Even though he is the young master of the family, Tan Thu Thien often does not doubt his father's decisions, and the father-son relationship is always close. How does it speak up for others this time? Tin Kong inherently does not care about our life or death. Even if we win, there will be no benefit. Otherwise, why not join Bin's side? It's not like you just follow whoever you like and follow that person's side. Today's decision by the clan head will lead to the fate of the entire clan in the future. With sharp words, Tan Thu Thien reminded about the plunder of the stars, more and more every day on the base of Longjiang City, forcing all the forces of the cities to bow down before them and surrender. Today they can take down one city, tomorrow it will be 5, the next day it will be 10 until it's all gone. Their greed is like a bottomless bag that only wants more, pleasing them is never enough. But the reputation of the king of thieves has been strong for so long, if they don't obey they will only die. Is it wise to become a hero to save the world now? Tan Thu Thien didn't know what to say, but he always felt that the strength of the mischievous pet shop had been unknown to anyone for a long time, but at that time, of course it wasn't someone's. Compassion can be obtained. Tan Thu Thien had a serious face and begged Tan Du Hoang to trust his judgment today. That guy named Tabin and that mischievous pet shop might be able to overthrow the starry sky. His son thought so far ahead that he never thought about the day he would oust these people, but only thought about following so that he would have a way to live. Tan Thu Thien now reminded him of the possibility that they would have a better life if the stars disappeared from this place. The other three families suddenly stopped seeing Tan Du Hoang. They stopped walking and realized that the Tan family had chosen a different path from them, adding another unreasonable person. Tru Vo Kuk's face darkened. It was acceptable for a boy whose nose was not clear enough to speak vaguely. His Highness Tan Du was the head of a large family, so why did he make such an irresponsible choice? The father and son of the Tan family landed where Tabin stood. He just slightly curled the corners of his mouth and smiled without saying a word. The enemy of Starry Sky is certainly also the enemy of Tang Long Qian. Now seeing that Tan Du Hoang and Chao Thien Lam have become enemies, they turned their noses up in disdain and let them all die together. Thien Vu Quan above again launched arrows, like rain falling on the place where Tan Du Hoang had just thrown off his white coat. Looking back, over the past 10 years, just because of worrying about the family's internal and external affairs, my integrity was no longer maintained like before, remaining silent in the face of the unacceptable actions of Starry Sky, which led to things happening, of today. But Qin Du Hoang's title before he retired from the sword was the God of Anger. But I will never kneel before the Tang family. A roar from Tan Du Hoang spread out around and burned hundreds of Thien Vu Quan's arrows at the same time. A few soldiers standing too close could not stand being blown away by the force, causing the colors to fly backwards. With just one move, the Qin clan leader blew away the herd of viburnums and threw them half backwards. The surrounding ground could no longer bear it, sinking more than a dozen centimeters, making the two old men of the Lu and Deep families unable to help but exclaim. The Qin family's wrathful god has not appeared once for many years, yet his strength has only increased and never decreased. Duang Long Qian did not ignore it, waved his hand and ordered the Air Force to quickly adjust their formation and momentum. In the past, the Duang family was like the name of the head of our family. Whoever came would fight, even the angry gods would rush in and I would show them. Seeing that Tan Du Hoang was about to jump onto the roof with Phai Vu Quan, Tabin stopped him. Compared to this large and small number, it was enough for Chao Vong Quan's army to rush forward. The flying army's hearts suddenly became chaotic. A few bandits were beaten until their wings were broken and flew free, screaming in the air so desperately that Duang Long Qian, not understanding what was happening, turned around and played it back. The Chao family's entire military camp was fully assembled, with a majestic posture, not afraid of life or death, lined up in straight rows with all kinds of ferocious beasts behind Hua Kuang, riding on a vase singing the Dark Dragon Dog, giving orders. Surrounded the stadium to prevent anyone from escaping. After waiting forever, Hua Kuang's assistant finally allowed them to take action. And those group of sculptures flying in the sky will definitely be handled by him and Chao Vong Quan. Isn't the Chao Vong Quan a bunch of trash at level 7 and level 8, demanding to fight with non-Ouijamans whose bloodline is below the level 8 limit of the Duang family? That's because you don't know what kind of service the mischievous pet store has. Each animal sent into the store quickly improves its enlightenment and fighting skills. Every bird that is full of sound will be engraved by Tabin with some seals. It must be different from the birds flying stupidly in the sky. Hua Kuang, come kill them all for me. Continuously breaking crazy. Following Hua Kuang's orders, a series of moves, like thunder in a clear sky, shot out at the same time, shocking the birds, scattering and falling to the controller's eye. This is the 992nd Thunderbolt, capable of automatically locking successively on enemies near the target for an equal, medium shock. Each pet move from Chao's side can lock up 12 people at a time, but their side has hundreds of moves fired at the same time, making it extremely difficult for the flying army to deal with. The two old men had not yet intervened but were still standing as if waiting for their husbands to admire Chao's unexpected progress, from a group of miscellaneous soldiers into a pure fighting formation with tremendous combat power. In such a short time, Tabin's store was able to make such a big upgrade, something they never understood. Do you think Deep Vo Kak and Lu Thien Tun will gently change sides? Please comment below to let Tom know. Tabin had already predicted that this day would come, so after opening Chao Vu Quan's eyes, he urged the entire army to bring pet animals to him for training. The results let the Duong family's Thien Vu army know that they were no longer a bunch of chaotic losers below level 8. The madness broke out in succession, as if Thien Loi had struck down at once, causing both birds and people to mix in the air. What happened was so unexpected. Thien Vu Quan had just used overwhelming numbers above, but now because they were standing too close together, they involved 12 people at a time multiplied by the dozens of moves they launched. Those who were still standing firmly on the purple lightning took the opportunity to rain down yellow arrows continuously, but encountered the shield defense in front and did not cause many casualties to Chao Vu Quan. The shield in front was dense, but the back still emitted a crazy, non-stop series of attacks. As long as you spot a viburnum showing signs of wanting to hide, aim at it and shoot it until it loses its feathers. Duong Longqian looked at his army, famous for being flexible and good at dodging, now looking like living targets for the Chao family to attack and slash at their leisure. Does the current situation seem too coincidental? The skill that Chao Vu Quan uses is to block enemies in a wide area, extremely suitable for dealing with Thien Vu Quan, with the ability to fly coolly. Could it be that the young man in front of him somehow knew about his ambush army? If he continued to attack, Tabin's hair would have been damaged, and before he could use it, the entire army would have been destroyed. Duong Longqian guessed back and forth but could not imagine that the strengths and weaknesses of the Duong family had long been in Tabin's hands. Phai Vu Quan still tried to retreat as much as possible, but Hua Quang had turned on main character status. He pointed his finger at the crowd of wanderers and laughed, not allowing anyone to escape, so he grabbed them for me. Even if a feather or an egg falls on Hua Quang, he wants to destroy it all. It seems like the Duong family can't do anything, explained the officer, urging them not to fire bullets at the coordinates 31 degrees 33 north, 120 degrees 16 west. Immediately, the Lan Tin satellite outside the space of Tin Kong City moved extremely fast, opened its high-powered gun barrel, and intended to give Tabin and his group a praying shooting star from above. This Su Bin does not believe in superstitions. As soon as he looked up at the sky, he saw the clouds being pierced by a pillar of golden light as bright as an entire sun converging in one place. Without a word, it thundered down on a group of Chao Vu Quan, burning all the people and pets to death right at the point of contact. The ground was scattered with fiery red sparks. Damn it, Hua Quang, thanks to the Dark Dragon Dog's shield, was still alive to eliminate these damned people. Sneaking in from above, from a satellite hovering in space, that machine gradually penetrated into the atmosphere. Blue Star, present in the sky like an alien flying saucer, collects the streak of light just fired and waits for cooldown to release again. The young people didn't know, but Tan Duhoang looked at him and told everyone to run away immediately. That is a star weapon used to massively destroy the world, a 10,000-ton Thien Company La Tu cannon, called La Kong KY. Haha, where can you guys hide? Hiding behind the blue star or what? The old men laughed deceitfully, thinking that Tabin and his group would surely die this time. Siding with Starry Sky was indeed a correct and reasonable choice of 10 points. The cooldown time of the unseated blade seems to be short, and it has already hit the crowd below. Chao Vu Quan was not trained to deal with this type of terrible power. Everyone tried to run away but it was too late. The speed was too fast and would flatten the entire area below. Suddenly, with a loud bang, solid black dragon wings spread out in the air. You guys haven't seen me in battle for a long time, so you've forgotten me, right? Hell's dragon beast spreads its wings and body to cover the European army, ready to attack the tundra with cannons. It buckled a bit so that the entire cannonball fell on its back, but it didn't seem to cause any damage with its incredibly hard armor. The armor that he sacrificed the dignity of an arrogant dragon to learn, to survive through hundreds of battles, made the old people look dumbfounded. The dragon in the rankings sounds big, but it should have burned down under this type of artillery. The hell little dragon beast is still a surprise for you guys. It roared loudly, emitting a spherical yellow barrier, a level 9 deification skill. The gods of iron walls knocked back without stopping, and covered all the people and pets below without being hit by even a single blow. Skin. From a small ball that could only cover the army of pearls, the iron wall gods of hell, and a few dragon beasts, it quickly spread out to cover the entire field and then collapsed. Looking at the 4 pillars on all 4 sides, you know this skill, the super prestigious defense. Adding 3 to 4 artillery shells probably won't do anything. These stars really have a bit of skill, but they unexpectedly caused the hell dragon beasts to fight. As soon as they entered the field, they had to bring out their strongest skills to fend them off. Lost in the Sky has a reputation for being quite good. Why doesn't it sound fun to say a compliment? Because in the past, no matter how strong a level 9 ferocious beast was, its soul would be scattered, under the bullets of Luo Kong. That's why Tin Kong had no opponent for many years. True Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu didn't see it with their own eyes and thought it was a fake story, but there was a dragon alone that could withstand this type of bullet. Ji Kan Quan smiled as if he liked Tabin very much, but inside he was cursing. I originally thought this guy was just a scam artist, but I didn't expect that his strength was much deeper than what he appeared to be. If so, the entire army must rush forward. He passed the command to all present to bring their war pets out to meet the battle. The king's order givers and the clan heads raised their hands to call out the summoning space, bringing their best pets out to do business with Tabin. The doors of space are all big and powerful, one with few, one with many, 2 open brightly in the sky. From inside, the red-orange summoning space of a level 9 war pet master appeared, causing the surrounding air to become terrifyingly compressed. Young people like Lang Wei and Tan Thu Thien seemed to be suppressed by Long Ui. They could still stand but were sweating profusely trying to resist. The group of pet animals stretches to the horizon, with all types from flying dragons to dolls to ghostly monks all present. What these guys have in common is that they are extremely aggressive. This brutal scene is what helped Tin Kong to stand firm and proud of its fighting ability, over the past decades, easily taking over Longjiang City as it wanted. Leading the group was Ji Kan Kwa, flying in midair, shouting for the entire army to attack. People and pets mixed together, mixed with a group of half black and half purple rushed towards Tabin's group, completely overwhelmed in quantity, but the quality did not decrease at all. He had to take back the temporary contract from the little skeleton from his sister. This time he had to personally act to survive. And Tabin has been alone for so long, with only a small skeleton next to him, and no need for any other help. As long as his sister is well protected, he can feel secure going into battle. Tan Du Hoang thought he heard wrong. Here, it's not 10 vs 100 or 100 vs 100, but there are thousands of pet animals in front of her. But all he says is to protect his sister? Is this mischievous pet shop owner mistaken? It's really something he can solve on his own. Tabin waved his hand towards the small skeleton and saw it emitting a red aura just like its owner and then gradually disappearing. The skill of Samsara has been chosen. Let's fight, boy. Can the fusion of a human and a pet beast actually be performed by someone of legendary rank at such a young age? It's true that the longer you live, the more your eyes will be opened. But Ji Kan Kwa did not slack off a bit because of that. Compared to the combined fighting power of their group, it was not inferior to the legendary level, so there was no need to be afraid of a brat whose nose was not clean. From the moment he chose to fuse with the little skeleton instead of other pets, it's only been dozens of chapters now that we've seen the complete form of the Mat Teep shape. Today Tabin will open their eyes. How are fake legends different from fake legends? When Tin Kong's group of people arrived at the same time, everyone knew that bad news was being spread to Longjiang City base. With the power that covers everyone above and below, this time Tin Kong made an exception, that is, calling the entire king's army not to deal with a group, but only the master alone. Tin Niche Pet Shop. Tabin made a historic decision, which was to fuse with the small skeleton to create a manly shape and personally go into battle to confront the giant army. Everyone thought he was an illusion, a young man without much of a reputation, but he dared to go into battle on his own and needed to be taught a lesson. The large pet beasts in the first row didn't know what to say and just rushed forward. One used a sharp claw, the other used a glowing club to strike the group down where Tabin was standing. He raised his two hands to touch each other and then gradually pulled them out. From the void a sharp purple light flickered with rays of undead aura. Don't think that the little skeleton uses a stick to dig holes, but think that his slim shape is also like that. The bone blade that Tabin pulled out was nearly as long as his body height. From hilt to blade, his entire body exuded a strong magnetic energy, ready to accompany him into battle. If there is only a small skeleton going into battle, you will see it jumping right up to kill the opponent's pet beast, pulling out its bone knife from the air and cutting it wherever it likes. Its hobby is to take advantage of its small body and terrible speed to surprise the enemy team, which is also the reason why Nyan Bangwei thinks that the little dragon is an enemy. Specializes in blending into the shadows and appearing at the most unexpected times, but Tabin is different. He is not an elementary school-sized skeleton. Pulling out the dugout bone rod right from the beginning, he calmly went to replace the glowing chain of the pig-headed pet beast. Next to it, there were two other huge pet beasts waiting quietly. With just a simple wave of his hand, the peach core cut all three of them in half, like a cleaver cutting through a spinach stem, leaving a cut without a trace of leftover flesh. That's just your warm-up, so there's only 3 of them that can be cut at once. But that much was enough to make the execution kings sweat. Perhaps when I went to explore the 4 seas of Nam Chao, I have never seen anyone who dared to use a knife to cut a pet animal so quickly. The starry sky crowd stirred up a bit. The first row had already fallen, and had to immediately cover the place to prevent him from pushing through the barrel to get deeper inside. In addition, level 9 defense must be added immediately to block his progress. However, Tabin rushed past like a gust of wind, swinging his sword continuously to cut down several stars on the front line, leaving no one in time to react. Originally, Tabin had no intention of being here. There was no point in killing pet beasts one by one to tire himself out. What he had always taught his sister to attack the battle pet master standing behind him, today he would personally show how great its effectiveness was. When the pet beasts lose their owner, they become riotous and do not follow orders in any way. The murderous aura is still there, but they are like snakes with eyes and heads that no longer know whether they are on their side or our side. Anyone who comes close will bite them. The star's second line of defense must now be divided into 2 parts. Partly trying to find out where the hell Tabin was to attack, partly trying to kill the unmanned war pets himself to avoid increasing casualties on his side. However, with the first part, there was no need to search anymore. Tabin appeared right above their heads, silently and quickly passing by with a little blood spray effect from the crowd, easily cutting the throats of the whole group. Increasing the number of pets that lost their owners, causing chaos in the crowd. The guys behind only now realized Tabin's strategy, which was really aimed at the battle pet master, ignoring the large and ferocious pets that always saw people with a knife to cut them off. Love did not expect that she would be hit in the face by her own stick. Because at first he summoned countless pet beasts and wanted to use their numbers to crush them, but now he used his body mixed in with the crowd to hunt down and destroy the battle pet masters, so no one could follow him closely. Moreover, the group of pet beasts that had lost their leader were spewing fire and water, causing the scene to become more and more confused. So Tabin was not delusional when he said he alone dealt with thousands of people and pets in front of him, but from the beginning had a clear goal of action. Tan Du Hoang was pleased to show up. In battle, you have to have a plan like that to be able to win. It's not like you can just crush people with meat. Tan Du Hoang was not a vulgar person. Although at first he listened to his son and changed sides, he already had a plan in mind to save his life. Who would have thought that the shop owner who loved the mischievous beast would completely overwhelm the other person thanks to his head full of grit? These stars will have to taste failure and be afraid, because of their habit of summoning a bunch of pet beasts, just to threaten people like the way they have always done. Even in my wildest dreams, I never thought that the pet beasts would lose their contract with the war pet master, leaving only ferocious wild beasts. The army's heart was in chaos, there was a shortage of manpower, and Tabin here was still a legend. His son, young but not inexperienced at all, chose the very good side of Tan Du Hoang, and he liked it very much. Drop a heart to let that child know that he's happy to wake up your father, but Tan Thu Thien doesn't know that his father is praising the pet store owner, so he doesn't know what that thumb is like. At least among the stars, there are people who use their brains and don't just shout out commands to pet animals. A certain guy, in the crowd, waved his hand towards where the father and son family of Tan and Lang Wei were standing, also wanting to poke the opponent's defense box and hit him directly at his most important place. Part of him kept wandering around in the air for a long time without any effect. As soon as he saw his shadow, he was instantly killed. So, when Tabin landed inside the classroom, the pet animals rushed towards the four people and shouted to kill. After all, Lang Wei has just debuted in recent matches. At most she can only fight 3 to 4 people at a time. Seeing hundreds of pet beasts rushing towards her, her face turns gray. Moreover, all of them were high-level pets and level 9 gunmasters, but there were no pets in her hand that could be used. Tan Du Hoang stood there, his hands and feet itching so much that he jumped in front of Lang Wei, punched the pet closest to her and sent it flying far away. If you want to get to Lang Wei, you must first pass through our gate. As soon as he finished speaking, he punched the green dragon-shaped pet and sent it flying backwards. Below his son Tan Thu Thien and the Chao family patriarch, Chao Thien Lam also quickly opened the summoning space to bring out his battle pets. Chao Thien Lam, sitting in the patriarch's chair, has not fought with anyone for a long time, but now he comfortably summons a green dragon with glowing yellow eyes to let them know that he is old, not useless. To his left, Qin Shao Thien's Smurf guardian used his hook to easily pierce the mouth of a wolf-like pet. In general, the left and right flanks around Lang Wei still held out quite well, although the two people, one old and one young, struggled a bit. Any pet that comes too close and cannot attack in time must use a star shield to block it. After all, they do not have the ability to wriggle into a battle pet master like Tabin. Sometimes they are still overwhelmed by the overwhelming number. Clearly visible. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, a black forelimb appeared, retreating like a lump of burning coal, holding 2 mixed beaks pointing at Chao Thien Lam and Tan Thu Thien, smashing them to the ground, leaving only a mixture of flesh and blood. Right in front of the other two. I was still preparing to fight back, but suddenly I lost it. Hell's bamboo dragon beast can breathe a sigh of joy. Its mighty veins threaten the pet beasts, so they should not come closer. Boss Bin left me behind to defend, but I also know how to fight. Taking advantage of some free time to avoid being attacked, the two of them chatted right away about the dragon in front of them. Seeing a dragon with hard armor that could withstand being lost in the ground was already surreal, but now seeing that same dragon smashing its opponent, like smashing a bloody mosquito to the ground. So isn't this Tabin's pet perfect in attack and defense? He plays alone, no one can play against him. It's not over yet. Tabin doesn't have only a pet, he also has his favorite student Hua Kuang riding a dark dragon dog, rushing out to the battlefield to bomb the mob, protecting Tabin's younger sister so he can feel secure to continue fighting. Signing the contract and singing together with Dark Dragon Dog for several months, Hua Kuang knows clearly what the pet beast's strengths and weaknesses are. The first afternoon thrown at this group was the fierce and deadly thunder. Reminding those of you who have watched this and forgotten what the Thunder Abyss is. That is the 773rd Thunder Path that Tabin engraved for the Dark Dragon Dog while he passed Thang Thang Keep. Has the ability to directly engrave marks for pets to learn new skills. Therefore, this skill bears the mark of the lightning system, allowing the Dark Dragon Dog to shock and claw all enemies within a 10 meters radius. Hua Kuang had a Dark Dragon Dog on his back, so he rushed straight into the enemy's formation as black as grass ants, using the barrier of fierce lightning to both defend and attack, quickly sweeping away the pet beasts, leaving them dead at his feet. Like falling stubble, except for Duang Longqian, who was angry at Tabin for capturing Duong Nhu Yen for so long, he decided to join Tin Kong's side to fight and kill Tabin. The remaining elders of the clan continued to see Tabin's side in every direction, but they were able to gain both quality and quantity, and they began to feel stagnant. Lu Thien Tun looked at him without even blinking, muttering to himself that that damn young man's level of magic was like that. There were 102, already taking the place of his subordinates. Each of them would have their own. What's wrong with fleas? What tricks did Tabin use to train this group of evil gods? Deep went into the back room and held his peace, his heart filled with bitterness. Knowing that he was fighting for the other side, what was he doing here? Suddenly, Ji Kan Kwa appeared majestically like the main character of Chap. He summoned a pet beast called the blood-sucking great demon, whose shape resembles a headless mist that also holds a sword. Red. Behind it, all the blood, flesh and blood of humans and pet animals died on the ground and flew into the mound that formed its body. It turns out that if you want to summon this pet beast, you must wait for the summoned body to pile up and use flesh and blood as a sacrifice to grow stronger. It is thought that the more people around die, the more this pet beast will benefit. Why has Ji Kan Kwa been silent all this time? Turns out he was waiting for the pioneers to die first so he could dig up the graves at once. Soon the blood-sucking great demon covered by the bed had grown larger, many times the size of the hell dragon beast, and its head was about to touch the roof of the iron wall of the gods. You must know that the hell dragon beast is one of the largest pet beasts of all species, but now standing in front of the blood-sucking great demon, it is only tiny, enough to know how much flesh and blood that great demon has sucked into its body. Tan Thu Thien was surprised but did not say anything. Even Tan Du Hoang was slightly shy at the huge size of this great demon. Absorbing energy from the dead next to you to increase your strength is truly an indescribable move, requiring you to wait for enough dead people. It turns out it's a technique that uses the enemy to kill someone, mixing it up as much as possible to increase the strength of your pet. So that's the reason why Ji Kan Kwa left your teammates to die miserably and then took action, right? Tabin is very familiar with these types of things. When he first entered the battle, his crow was as big as a brave warrior. Finally, he hid behind and waited for his comrades to die before rushing out to take the glory for himself. Good commander. Ji Kan Kwa had a cold nose. Now that he knew it, what was the use? Compared to the size and strength, this great demon is his pride, so what's the point in using it as his final trump card? The great demon swung its red longsword, causing the surrounding air to stir and explode. Sticking with its sword, even if it fell, they would be flattened by the aftershock and unable to resist. Normally, with just this one move, it can blow away half of the battlefield with ease. But compared to the size, Tabin is not afraid of any father and son, but in fact, not being able to show it off for a long time is a bit itchy. Still maintaining the same shape, Tabin raised his fist and shouted, shaking the devil's second move. The demon appeared as Kim O's full body with long wings and a strong body, wrapping around the body of Tabin and the little dry skull. Now, compared to size and strength, Tabin is not afraid of anyone. Even though Ji Kan Kwa had fought for many years from place to place, he still did not know what kind of warfare method Kim O's magical body was. If we talk about history, Kim O's demonic body appeared before Lam Tin was inhabited by humans, so it is natural that people here have absolutely no experience at all. And of course, losing half of my right armpit after losing half of my right armpit is also the second most understandable thing. A gentle, emotional magic shaking hand easily made the great demon crafted from so much flesh and blood lose its ability to fight. When the match was at its most intense stage, Nyan Bangwei was still lying on the cold ground while the maid treated his injuries. The wound from the poison potion was so toxic that it took her a lot of time to regain consciousness. Looking up to see the great demon sucking the blood of King Min, the proudest senior who had just gone into battle had his armpit punched through. Since then Nyan Bangwei had been trying to get up. Up above, Tabin had just launched a move to blow away one of the great devil's arms and immediately retracted the devil's divine fist and the image of Kim O's divine and demonic body. Man Ti Pin seized the opportunity and quickly swung his bone knife towards the big and shabby guy in front of him, using his sharpness to try to kill him like many other pet beasts before. Nyan Bangwei managed to get up, but his head was sweating. He quickly urged the maid to quickly help him out of this place, muttering that his senior soldier king couldn't fight him. The maid didn't understand what she meant. Was she being poisoned and becoming delirious? If Ji Kwa couldn't beat Tabin, who could? But Nyan Bangwei's eyes let the maid know that what she had just said was completely valid. Now what they need to do most is to be patient to leave this place smoothly. As for those who still have a chance to take revenge, it's better to have enough strength to come back and take revenge than to just rush to death. The maid nodded to help Nyan Bangwei try to take small steps, but when she reached the iron wall blocking the gods, she found that she couldn't break through to get out. It's not a level 9 barrier like the judges made just now, but it's like a cage that traps everyone inside. No matter how you use it, you can't break it out. What do you know now? Tabin was busy killing people up there, so he didn't forget to add some information to cause more panic. The iron wall is not simply a protective barrier, it can also separate everything from the outside environment, whether it is sound or light. What happens inside this barrier will forever stay here. Even if it's a bug, the information cannot be transferred out without his permission. Even if there was a certain guy, curiously pressing his eyes close to the screen to see the situation inside, there was no way to see, because from the beginning, Tabin did not want anyone to escape. As soon as he finished his sentence, he swung his VIP version of the bone blade, decisively slashing away the skull and smashing the great demon's entire body into cracks, bones falling apart. Daima staggered and fell, but instead of falling forward, Tabin's cut clearly made it fall backwards, where Nyan Bangwei was being helped by her maid to find a place to hide. Daima's giant black shadow covered their heads without anyone knowing. Tru Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu from the other side shouted for the young lady. Nyan Bangwei's eyes opened wide in panic. Her injury made it impossible for her to walk on two legs without someone to help her, let alone run away from Daima's falling body. With a bang, the massive body fell like a several-story building, dust and dirt scattered everywhere. No one could see where Nyan Bangwei was. When Nyan Bangwei first entered the arena, he was filled with enthusiasm, making everyone feel a bit shy. Partly she herself has strength, partly she has the support of the stars that makes people dare not even talk about it. Yet half a day later, his luck changed, and he had to rely on the maid to help him out of the chaotic battlefield to escape. Only when the black number touched the iron wall did the gods realize that it was not a normal barrier that could be broken to get out. While struggling to know what to do, she realized that she was standing right in the fall range of the great demon who had been liberated through summoning. Would she still be alive? While the battle was taking place intensely within the shield of the iron walls, on the spaceship, the main star flying around Lam Tin held an emergency meeting. Nearly 10 high-ranking figures of the Tin Kong organization received orders and quickly appeared following the call of the head of Tin Kong. A report was heard inside, except for Ji Kwa who was on a business trip. There were enough people to conduct the meeting. A senior member of Tin Kong spoke first, wondering why he was summoned so hastily. He worriedly asked if there was a problem with the ceiling in the abyss crack. Because it was hard for him to think of any other urgent reason than this. No, it's not that serious. The person sitting in the chair of the court said that today's matter was not related to Lam Tin's safety, but first talked about Tru Vo Kuk and Don Fong Tiu, bringing a potential person to Longjiang City base. Practice. But there appeared a much stronger person who wanted to kill them, so he had been sending out an SOS signal for a while. A congressman sitting on the left asked in confusion, Longjiang is just a small border area, so who can make it difficult for Vo Cu and Fong Tiu to the point of having to send a signal for help? That is the question that a leader like him also wonders. Although it was unclear what was happening there, the stars quickly dispatched T Vong Len's handling team immediately, led by Ji Kwa. Although cultivating a qualified potential person costs a lot of wealth and resources, but just because of such a person, is it necessary to gather all the members of the parliament? Another emergency meeting. Someone sitting in the parliamentarians' wing spoke up with a sneer first. Ji Kwa's strength has been proven, not to mention the additional 39 level 9 experts accompanying him, and the right to use it is to not sit whenever necessary. It's easy to oppress anyone, so what's there to discuss? Well, those stories are things that Tin Kong has been proud of for a long time, so it's hard to explain in just a sentence or two. So the master did not raise his hand to play a video recording the situation below, showing it to the parliamentarians. Remember, this is a scene Bin wants to show them, not that they have any talent to see it. The scene of all 39 level 9 experts of Tin Kong dying without a blink of an eye, and Ji and Qua's group and several clan heads of the same faction being tied down and kneeling on the ground was enough to surprise the parliamentarians. Until they saw that the crowd of people below was nothing compared to the pile of pet corpses stacked on top of each other, like a small mountain. On its top, there was a faint yellow spot that looked like someone was comfortably sitting on top. Does anyone remember the scene of Bin when he first traveled to the Lightning World to fight against the giant rat Loi Kwang? At that time, he also sat on the same pile of ferocious beast corpses, but this time he sat very comfortably, without having to pant because he lived and died over and over again. The old people of Tin Kong did not know that. They were only surprised by the image of Ji and Kwa looking humiliated on the ground, and all the people who had obeyed the king's death order had long since passed out of breath. Who, in the end, took action against Tin Kong? To answer the questions of you and the parliamentarians, the old man at the head of the star raised his hand to the screen to enlarge the image of the yellow blur on the top of the beast, announcing that the person who acted was a young man. Age: Bin. Wearing a simple black t-shirt with a windbreaker, sports pants and double Converse shoes, Bin arrogantly sat there silently without saying a word. I don't know when we will see Bin defeat the pet beasts again. As a boss, we only see him take action all the time. The parliamentarians looked at the information he sent them, one by one, reading that Bin was 18 years old, and had awakened his talent as a battle pet master quite later than his peers. Step by step demonstrating the power of the title level in previous secret realms and Longjiang City. There is currently a pet shop in the center. Wait, a kid like this has already reached the badge level? That's right, this is also something the star did not pay attention to from the beginning when reviewing Bin's information. So he rummaged through videos of him to see if his skills were really that advanced? But the Theat bitch gods blocked all the prying eyes, seeing nothing but the emptiness sitting down on the top and unable to penetrate the barrel inside. No one had grasped the entire scene before, until Bin ordered the Hell Bamboo Dragon Beast to solve the secret method, and then there was the image of the rescuer and his accomplices being rescued on that ground. But when people usually fight on such a large scale, who uses secret techniques to hide the world's eyes? Could it be that this young man did this to deliberately hide his own strength? The strength of this Bin himself is not the same. There is no way that an 18-year-old kid could have such great abilities. There must have been someone behind him who was able to lead to what happened today. And whoever is standing behind Bin must be legendary level to make sense. Someone expressed concern. How many legendary level people are there in this entire Lam Tin? While the Longjiang City base, in a place close to the border, does not have as many materials and opportunities to advance as far as other places, for this group of Tin Kong people, that place is like hiding from the sky. There are no legends about digging 3 inches of soil. Until now, what they know are just pictures, and the information has been made public by Bin. For example, Dao Tun, Nguyen Thien Than's powerful subordinate, is very close to Bin. Many sources said that Dao Tun was the one who taught him swordsmanship, gave him a pet dry skull, and often visited the store to check on Bin's situation. In the Tin Niche pet shop, there are also photos of Bin and Dao Tun hanging together, proving that their relationship is likely very close. Dao Tun's reputation is known to many people. Although he has not yet reached the legendary level, he has been named a person below the legendary level and is also considered a prominent figure in Longjiang. Indeed, without a close relationship and frequent interactions, how many people would dare to use Dao Tun's reputation and hang it in stores to make money? I'm afraid a normal person did this for just one day, and the next day he was found dead on the street. The crowd was convinced by that hypothesis, thinking that it was true that Bin had a good relationship with Dao Tun. From that, it can be deduced that Nguyen Thien Than's relationship is not normal. From the data they had in hand, they deduced that Nguyen Thien Than had saved Bin when he had to confront Tin Kong, which then led to all this noise. So what's important now is Tin Kong's move. To deal with such a character, do we have to call in troops from elsewhere? The owner of Tin Kong immediately dismissed it. In fact, he already had a plan in mind at first. Even though Tin Kong's legendary level was defeated, it was nothing compared to a powerful organization with a famous name like them. With the power and strength of the King's Death Order, Tin Kong can completely overwhelm other forces and divide the organization into levels with a legendary leader like Nguyen Thien than to work for them. Diwa Vy Kai is still the destination that Tin Kong wants, because conflicts between legends at all levels are always disastrous, only creating conditions for other forces to attack. According to his guess, Nguyen Thien then also knew about this, so he kept Ji Kan Kwa from killing him. He was probably waiting for someone to negotiate. No matter what you say, Nyan Bang Wei is because Tin Kong came to disrupt Longjiang City first, so if you continue to tense up until the end, it will only be more disadvantageous, and the more people know Tin Kong, the more you will lose face, affecting the image they have long built. He immediately ordered the people below to cover up what happened at Longjiang City's stadium, from the forces fighting each other to fierce beasts suddenly attacking during the match, causing people to die. Tin Kong responded promptly, but could not avoid the deaths of some officials and civilians. The National Assembly immediately agreed with this communication plan, but still wondered if they should admit their mistakes to Nguyen Thien then and to Bin, so that Ji Kan Kwa could be released? No baby. Telling Tin Kong to apologize is something that never happens in this life. Master Tin Kong sent up a red aura to cover his whole body, as if declaring that the killing of a group of level 9 people was too much. Don't ask for anything more. This matter will be personally resolved by him. To protect Tin Kong's reputation as still the leading organization in the region. The old man growled, not to mention to Bin, even if Nguyen Thien then was there, he would still have to show some respect. After the meeting, Tin Kong's group followed suit and wanted to see the potential person in person. She is nowhere to be seen in the movies. There was no way to see it anymore. She was crushed under a pile of rubble, her appearance and shape could not be clearly seen. Hua Kuang looked at it and was immediately scared. It was a crime to be crushed by that great devil. Now he died. Not even a whole body like this. He was still someone else's daughter. Turning around gathered the living and the dead into two groups. Just as Hua Kuang called out to inform to Bin that the work was done, 3 aircraft suddenly appeared in the sky, launching from outer space into the clouds above. Finally, to Bin's long-awaited guests arrived. Guests coming to the house have to be warmly welcomed, to look like the owner of the #1 store in the city, right? Chao Vu Quan's group followed his orders to immediately approach Tin Kong's airships. However, they did not dare to come close, because the appearance of aircraft in Longjiang's airspace was something that did not happen very often, so it was difficult to know what they could do. The ship's door opened and immediately saw the owner of Tin Kong with white hair and beard floating and shouting loudly. "Those kids who don't know how to modulate, leave me alone." The crowd below was excited when they saw him flying. It was clear that a badge-level expert had arrived. "If you know what to do, stay away. We came here to negotiate." The old man waved his white beard, his eyes emitted a harsh, stern light, and looked around for a while to assess the situation. Among the stunned crowd there, only Ji Kan Kwa recognized the leader of Tin Kong, immediately bared his half-lost teeth and happily called out, "Head of Parliament." The elders next to him had never seen him before, thinking that Tin Kong's reinforcements were coming, so they should be happy first. To Bin did not care who came, but if someone with some power came, it would be even better for him to talk. "But don't make any noise about the bearded guys, he won't like it." As soon as To Bin glanced at To Bin, Chao Thien Lam and Tan Du Hoang used their strength to block this group from talking anymore. They locked their throats with all their strength. The blinded person could only mumble a few helpless sounds and could not answer. The parliamentarians saw Ji Kan Kwa being muzzled like a dog on the ground and shouted angrily, but were interrupted by the old man in charge. He asked To Bin what conditions he had and told him to go ahead and be hot. The next sentence sounded softer. He said that his subordinate did not understand the situation, so he offended him, and wanted to ask his uncle to gently beat him. However, his mouth sounded like he was asking permission and negotiating, but both he and his subordinates were hovering over Tabin's face, on the contrary, more like they were threatening. What's with the mighty martial arts parade? Who else do you call uncle? Before Hua Kuang's teacher Tabin spoke, he grumpily pointed at the people above and cursed first. Hey, that old man came to ask for his subordinate's life, Dad. Are you that big? Do you believe I twisted all your false teeth out? The angry parliamentarian who had just heard Hua Kuang directly curse the parliament chief immediately turned to compare with him. But before he could, Lao stopped him. With a posture very similar to that of a superior, he told him to leave and leave, not bothering with the children. What bothered him most here was that he didn't see any Nguyen Thien Than or Dao Tun around here like he expected. Thinking of this, two people should have appeared to protect Tabin. Or maybe after dealing with the crowd, I should have subjectively gone back first, right? If that's the case, then it's considered heaven's help. Brat Tabin here alone is too easy to deal with. Thinking so, the old man flew close to Tabin and still didn't answer a word. Tell him what he wants to do after killing a team full of level 9 experts from the organization. It's a mistake. Now I tell you to obediently hand over Ji Kan Kwa. How about I spare your life? Is it really a sugarcane grove? Just now, on the spaceship, we were discussing each other to the best of our ability, making all kinds of negotiations with the utmost goodwill. But just a little while down, he opened his mouth and demanded that he be handed over. If he didn't hand over, he would lose his life. This kind of arrogance threatens Tabin, which is very wrong. He bowed his head and smiled softly, asking the old man what to do if he didn't hand over the person. What can this star do? Stick to the hypothesis of a love triangle between Tabin, Nguyen Thien Than and Dao Tun without letting go. The senator next to him shouted at him not to think he had the backing of a legend, but to do whatever he wanted. Even if Nguyen Thien Than was standing here, he still had to respect him, let alone a brat sitting there gossiping. The old man nodded at his subordinate's words, advising Tabin not to let himself borrow his prestige, and to have fun. He also had to know when to stop and bring disaster to himself. Finally made him stand up, put his hands in his pockets. He looked up at the group of people and lightly snorted. It seems like you guys are very confident in your strength. Really, Tom is curious, right now, does Tabin think if he hadn't used the iron walls to stop us from coming to cause trouble? He originally wanted to leave a peaceful diplomatic path, but before anything happened, he threatened. So he made a bet. When he heard it, he saw that it was wrong. Ji Kan Kwa, whose mouth was gagged, immediately spoke up to stop him. Hearing a few hums from him, the people above thought they were cheers, so they responded meaningfully. Rest assured, my friend, we are here and you will not suffer any humiliation or loss. Ji Kan Kwa will never be as bitter as this moment, watching Tin Kong's group bet with Tabin, without knowing how dangerous he is. His bet is very simple. He gives them 3 seconds to resist his attack. As long as it lasts 3 seconds, he will happily let Tin Kong take people home, without saying a word. But if he can't do that, this organization must honor him as king and serve him at his feet. Old man Tin Kong did not know that he was agreeing to a bet with the final boss. He only snorted in disdain at the petty rank of a young man, making this guy so arrogant. Just spending 3 seconds trying to beat someone sounds like playing soccer too hard. If you agree, what's the point? Ji Kan Kwa was muzzled, painfully watching the parliament go to death, then suddenly remembered he could transmit sound. He quickly shouted a warning not to bet with Tabin. This brat was not of the title level. Damn, it was of the legendary level. Tabin, in the eyes of Tin Kong's leaders at this time, is just a young man relying on Nguyen Thien Than and Dao Tun to get dirty. He stood on top of a pile of corpses of pet animals and set out conditions. The old man in charge of Tin Kong only needed to block one attack within 3 seconds, and Tin Kong's hostages would be released without any comments. On the contrary, if he cannot resist, this organization must respect him as king and submit to him. The old master of Tin Kong of course did not believe that he really had the ability, or that the little bit of ability he had was scrounged from behind Nguyen Thien Than. He is already 1 level higher than the original angel. There is nothing to be afraid of fighting until he is hot. From the blue summoning space, 5 dragon heads appeared, baring their fangs and claws to threaten Tabin. However, if he had seen the video of Tabin punching the shit out of some stupid bastards, he would have tried to summon 50 of them to ease his fear. So Tabin didn't bother to see what these 5 worms were, and asked in return, "Is this all he has?" Thinking he had heard wrong, he asked again what he meant. The 5 top-quality dragon beasts that were summoned were all level 9 pet beasts with limited bloodlines. Not to mention they all had to go through rigorous training. Each breath they took was enough to send the entire forest flying. But why didn't Tabin's words in front of him sound like slandering a dog? There was not a trace of fear he had seen in those he had encountered before. He raised his hand to open the red summoning space that smelled of strong negative energy, and from inside flashed 2 familiar eyes. And that unturned face gave him the feeling that he was not afraid, not worried, nor bothered to think of a plan. That face looked more like disdain. Why contempt? Does he not care about him? As the leader of Tin Kong, he is too used to being tamed by others. Now suddenly an arrogant young man appeared who didn't know what the sky and earth were, making him mad. The blue spiritual energy flowing from his body gradually grew larger, cracking the clothes he was wearing as if someone had torn them. Although he was willing to summon a dragon beast to fight against Tabin, he himself was not on the sidelines. With a loud bang, he landed on the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust and smoke. Behind the layer of dust and smoke, the fake white-haired and bearded man was nowhere to be seen, only a young muscular body standing in the middle of a fierce, swirling stream of spiritual energy. His eyes flashed fire, he breathed heavily and said that today he would let Tabin know what Gihan Viam was, from 70 years ago. If this brat dares to deceive superiors and deceive inferiors, then prepare to receive the wrath of Lord Tin Kong. The counselors walking behind laughed. It's been a long time since I've seen Gihan Viam use this move to fight. Because this is a forbidden technique that changes lifespan to increase strength, only Gihan Viam is allowed to use it, and once used, it will definitely run out of sauce with everyone else. I don't know if that afternoon will be effective or not, but Ji Kan Kwa and Wang Longxian, sweating profusely, helplessly. All kinds of voice transmission cannot overcome this kind of muzzle lock magic. Oh my god, save me again. Looking at Tabin, whose whole body was full of red spiritual energy, receiving a few jets of black energy from the little skeleton, everyone realized that it was the unified beast soul that had just blown away thousands of pet beasts. Tabin was also very serious about wanting Gihan Viam to lose in a convincing way. Looking at the little dry skull that was gradually disappearing, replaced by Tabin's strange appearance, Gihan Viam's face turned a bit pale as he tried to deny what was in his mind. It's been a while since I've seen the skill control panel again. After fusing with the urinal, how long does it take? Tabin hasn't had any new skills in a while, but if you pay attention, you'll see that this interface is a little different from usual. Just like last time, the system pops out a notification, letting him know that he can temporarily receive a skill from the combined pet, with power doubled compared to the one he is currently using. This means that after entering this unified state, Tabin and his pet beast are two but as one. Their fighting power only increases, not decreases. While wondering what to use this time to slash Gihan Viam and keep his mouth shut, Tabin noticed that on the top left wing, another fused beast soul box appeared. Normally, after he merged with the little skeleton, he could only see the skills of the little skeleton himself, such as Poison Corpse, Dragon Fire, Corpse Roar, Bone Breaking and so on. But today he saw a skill of his own. Does that mean he can fuse with another battle pet? In retrospect, this skill always has a good point. It increases its effectiveness by 2 times during the fusion time. That means that in addition to temporarily receiving the power of the little skeleton, he can also receive double the power of another pet beast. So 2 to the power of 3 sounds terrible. But now is an extremely reasonable opportunity to try this skill to see if the correct formula is 2 to the 3 power. Sandbags came from far away to reach him. Without trying to trick people, they said he was not enthusiastic or hospitable, that a service worker like him could not be so impolite. Skill selection completed. Beast soul possessed. Please choose 2 war pets to fuse. Sure enough, its method of operation is exactly the same as Tabin, predicting the second attack to the 3rd power. Can you guess who Bin will summon besides the little dry skull? Looking at the red armor of lava that gathered on his arm, you probably guessed who was summoned to try this new skill. Soon the entire Hell Bamboo Dragon Beast flew towards him and merged, forming a super cool armor like a warrior from Hell. In addition to the shape he had during the fight, Bin now also has 2 large dragon wings and a tail hooked behind his butt. The Hell Dragon Beast and the Little Dry Skull have in common that they both belong to the underworld lineage, so when these 2 powers are concentrated into one, sometimes even more than those 2, Bin's entire body is covered with a red aura. Intimidating. Oh, do you know that fusing twice is a very, very rare skill in this world? Not to mention that you can't even dream of doing it at the title level, and even at the legendary level 1 it's not necessarily possible. Our side and his side were all mixed up. Tan Du Hoang and Chao Thin Lam turned pale and realized that Bin's cultivation base was definitely at least level 2 legendary level, also known as the virtual realm. Just looking at those misty wings, Bin fanned himself and saw him soaring into the sky faster than a rocket. Let's start timing, old man. Bin, covered in armor, rushed back down with his fists flashing with fierce power. If he can only endure 3 seconds, he will let those people go home. Gihan VM's side has completed the 9-level Dragon Beast Protection exam. Both a shield and a shield.